He said, you're not a licensed plumber. He says, that's right. He says, I know darn well. He says, I get called to a job like that. But we learned.
Huh?
Yeah, huh. I was supposed to be inspected. Oh, something. And, up in the inspectors was there.
Do it. See?
Oh, no. Help.
Help.
We need help. Ah!
That won't hurt nobody.
Now, Ron, now we were having fun.
Excuse me. You ruined it all.
I got to get everybody on for Grandma's.
Hi. Hi, Grandma. Hi. Give me the cup.
Whose can was that?
Yes, but I think the name was.
Wear it down.
Michael.
What was he? He wasn't an inspector.
Building inspector. Clubby Newman, I called Tubby out of the He says, do whatever you have to do. He says, you know more about that than you can.
She's got it. Certain time.
Yeah.
My aunt, Rollins' wife, Aunt Lillian.
Now it's working.
Oh, be quiet now because Ross has got videotaping.
Our relatives are great.
Don't say anything dirty.
Look in the living room.
Oh.
I could just get the tripod.
In other words, you don't want us to say anything at all? We can't say anything that will be held against us.
Yeah. Anything that's videotaped.
In a court of law, right?
Why would we go sit in the living room?
Do not have my permission to videotape.
You want something to
No,
drink?
you can take this
He
off.
was a guy, you know, he got a job, you know,
Is this man?
inspector, and he, I had to have that many outlets in the bedroom. Well, I had the outlets 6 feet apart. But he says I had to have an outlet, one more outlet in that room.
Sandy told us we should come and sit by the man.
And,
I didn't have to be quiet. Now the women are going to talk.
and where I had to put that outlet,
Oh, that's a building.
Must be time to leave now, huh?
you'd have had a laugh. You'd have had a laugh.
We can start talking sheep, you know. Get you more interested here.
Is it?
Oh yeah. I didn't tell her what I was going to charge you yet.
Because
There's
I told her that
there
you were
was
going to
that
say
one.
something.
What do you have, Black Angus?
It ain't gonna be put yet.
They're about even up with a deer, right? I'll trade you even up. A deer for a Black Angus.
I put milk in a little. I know I don't drink that anymore. But are you done there?
Hey, and if you trade him, I get half of that Black Angus because that was my idea.
Sit up, Steve. Joanne needs to sit there.
Quit playing with her legs, Steve. You'll get alone later. Quit playing with her leg. You'll be alone with her later.
Oh, and Steve is snickering.
He's got this look in his eyes like, I've had a lot to drink. And you want to know what kind of look I get in my eyes? We just keep our hands off of me.
That's when I was falling asleep.
It's a look like this.
Well, yes, I do have to move over when you leave me 3 inches. I'm sorry I'm not that skinny. It didn't really snow, didn't it?
Right? No.
Or did you
I
make
think
it
it was like that when we came.
Oh, I didn't even hear it.
Yeah, we get snow here that stays.
They wondered where the light was.
We don't get all the heat from the city.
For the dirt.
Yeah, the dirt.
Oh, when we came home from Michigan, you should have seen my car. It was all salt.
Oh yeah, salt.
Ours was yesterday. You know, that snowed a little bit yesterday. Boy, the county, they just dumped salt out there to eat the dam.
Yeah, some of them were all pretty slippery, Kenny said.
It was slippery in places.
What was it when that snowed? So then Kenny said from the
Yesterday.
whatever the cleaners is called.
Came from New Chicago to
Yeah.
Business 51 was,
They
they were
put,
starting
what
to get over.
They had ashes on some places.
By high school.
Yeah, but
Somebody must have slid in and then
Oh, he goes to our
so
church.
it was
And
like.
his son preaches once in a while in our church. Reverend Law.
oh, that's him. Huh?
When you're old, slippery, keep off of the blacktop and keep off of the bed roads. Take the gravel roads.
And turn your cruise off.
Yeah.
Take the gravel
If
road.
you got cruise on the
How
car,
can you
that's
take
the
the
worst thing
gravel
you
road
can
if you
leave
want to
on.
drive straight?
Why?
Why?
Because
Because
it'll pick up when you don't want it
Hey,
to.
it's
That's
like
not living.
And not that, I don't never like to go on the gravel roads because your whole car gets all banged up underneath with the gravel.
yeah, and Dad keeps shooting the shotgun out the window.
Oh, we
You
went
don't
on-
remember them days.
we
Oh,
went on
yeah,
that
I
road
do.
up by Conrad's up there. I'm telling you, that wasn't even gravel. That was just plain mud. That was terrible.
Oh, yeah, but driving down Highland Avenue, I could have told you what you was gonna run into that.
Well,
That isn't a good road when they're good.
well, that's what I say too.
They get all that.
I think
mud out
Lincoln
of the
County
road
would be
and-
ashamed to call that a road.
Huh?
I would think Lincoln County would be ashamed to call that a
The
road.
least they
County
could,
isn't ashamed of anything.
That's true.
Right.
We aren't.
Right.
That was terrible.
But you know something? I'll bet you that in the state of Wisconsin, Lincoln County is in the top 10% of the best roads.
Which road is Highland Avenue?
If not
The
road,
road
it's tiles.
Yeah, not the
Before you get to Conrad.
Give or take 50.
West.
that's
Yeah.
the closest I've ever
Huh?
come to
Drive it
feeling like
before
I
the
was
road
in the
sign.
middle of Alaska
Well, we
without a
don't drive
road
it.
map.
Before we get to
Because there
Conrad.
were no
come from
intersections. We
64.
drove for
Where Army
miles
Water
and
is,
before you
miles
went to
and
Conrad.
miles.
You know
Back
where
behind
Arnold
where
Water
Mom and
lives?
Dad used to
Oh, yeah,
live.
oh, that road.
We
That
were going
road there.
over and driving
Yeah.
past there. We took
Okay.
a left instead of going a different way, so we just thought then we could cut over, but there was no way to cut over. And you were just on this road that looks like something they just recently halfway
Bulldozed
did.
out.
When that they cut the trees down.
Kind of like when you started your
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say that. Kind of like when we used to come here.
Yeah.
That's right. That's about the way
And
it
we
was.
drove and drove and drove and drove, and there's no intersection.
I bet you it's
Nothing that
15
says-
miles of
And
it.
that's all woods
Yeah,
there, huh?
sure,
Yeah.
and you start thinking if maybe this wasn't just for taking down trees, and it's a maze, and you
That's
never
what it is,
know.
too.
You thought you were in the Twilight Zone, didn't you?
I'll tell you, that road was basically built in there because somebody had a lot of land in there and there was timber in there.
Yeah, and they
To
wanted.
haul the log.
That's what it looked
That's what
like.
it
That's
looked
what it
Well,
like.
was.
that's basically what it was.
Hey, do
That was
you,
Frank's land, wasn't it?
Then you
Yeah.
drove 15
Well,
miles
that
before you
happened
figured
after
that out.
Brompton.
Well, you get going up there for a while, then you say, well, let's not turn around now.
Yeah,
I'll be where this
we've
fire.
Warehouse,
You
they
think you
don't
could
have
come
ones
to
that
the
hold that land
intersection
between
someplace?
64 and the county line.
No, you just
put
kept
a
going,
road
going,
right
and finally
through
we did, but
I guess they built roads, now you got the whole town.
yeah.
Tell Susie, well, here's
And roads that are like,
But
it was a long
bringing
way.
that, all
What
that
did
there,
you
so much of that.
That's about the team of my hero.
He was looking at
Just
the
about like
tree
that.
to see.
Yeah, about like that there.
I said, well, let's
Yeah,
put another couple
You built the
miles
road?
Yeah, that's right.
You know, in here,
You start wondering if you
and
need
after you had the
more
road
gas
built
before
over
you
there,
get to the end.
town takes it over and they gravel it
And
there.
this was supposed to
Town
be
didn't get to know half a part of this though. This was all,
When you go to
town gets to, didn't get to the gravel
And
of
then
this.
it
That was dirt.
boy, we didn't want to
Holes
go.
in
You know,
it, water
you
holes
can't see
in it.
Oh, shame.
I mean, they haul,
That's because they
can
could
they
tell
put
by
small gravel on there though?
seed.
Or
But
rotten
it's a
granite?
Chinese name,
It
you
wasn't
know.
funny.
Or you could just still there.
There was nothing on
That's
it.
a shame.
But you didn't
That's a
come to
shame.
Highland Avenue?
Yeah.
And the
Oh,
whole
you mean Highland Avenue, yeah.
People come through there, that's not.
But there was gravel at one time going on
It was
there.
all mud.
Well, right, no.
No,
That was
could
when
be,
we
but
got
that-
our new car.
That road was gravelled,
We were taking it for a
that I
ride.
know,
You
Do you kids remember when we were to Michigan?
because that was my Partridge Road.
When you were little? And,
When Russ and Sandy pushed
yeah,
you
when
out of
you
the
were
car.
little, you're right, Steve.
I
You
used
caught
to,
me.
We screwed up. If we'd have got that rope around her neck right away,
I
before
go
she
get the
went out,
tractor,
we'd
the
have had her.
shotgun.
What
I
happened,
come
Mom?
home with my
We
name with the
went to
Partridge
Michigan and then we
board.
all got in the car and we drove
Yeah, but then
way
they were
up someplace north.
Oh, yeah.
Up in upper Michigan, we drove
Got
around
to
and
deal
we
with
got
one
sort of
shot
got lost.
there one time.
There was a big thunderstorm was coming up. It was getting real black and we didn't know where we were. We did Lorna. I think Lorna was with us on this.
Yeah, old Michigan here in the copper country.
I mean, we drove all these roads and we didn't know which way to go anymore because we didn't know how to get over there.
That I don't
And the
remember.
gas
Yeah, and the
gauge
gas
still
gauge was
there.
going down and down.
That is bad.
Well, we
And
was
there
in the
there
hole,
was
trying
any
to
place
tell
where
you.
we could stop.
That's
Mom,
back when
that
you
must
were,
have been when I was a baby.
that, well, yeah, there was 4 kids after you yet.
Pee-wee was, Lorna was.
We'd be driving there, and all at once we'd come up to a building, maybe 100, 150 feet long, 100 feet wide and 3-4 stories high.
Just a building all by itself.
Yeah.
Empty?
And that was like a lodging for miners and stuff like that when he was mining up there years and years
So
ago.
it was empty and
Sure, there was nothing there.
how'd you get out of there?
And then there
We go.
were very many trees. The trees were all cut and it was brushy. You could, you had hills and stuff, but it was just, it was just like you were in someplace in a movie where you couldn't, you didn't know which way we should go. And it was getting darker and darker, and it was lightning.
I'd like to know where that was because I don't want to go there.
And let's go looking there this summer and let's see if we can find it.
I don't remember how we, I don't remember then. I don't remember how we got out of there or when we got out. I can't remember. But
Well, we went one direction. It's straight one direction. I knew we had to get up.
was driving it.
I imagine people.
Well, it must have been a man driving, because if a woman drove, she'd stop and ask for directions.
Right. Where were you going to stop and
went
ask for
up,
directions? There was no place to stop.
The Tula country where the Pa and them was logging, and we went for a drive north there. And we must have drove maybe 20 miles or so, and here we met a car, the woman with a bunch of kids in
Unless
there,
she'll sniff by her nose up there.
and she was crying already. She didn't know where she was, and she wanted to get out to
I told
the Lake of the Clouds up there. They got a big park there. That's interesting. Well, I said, I've never been in here before, but you follow me. I said, I'll get you out of here.
Yeah.
So I just took the roads where the most traveled was, right into the park. Never went through there in my life.
That's kind of like what I do when I want to find some place in Wausau.
Well, Ernst Lexman and me,
Just follow all the follow around.
we left at night.
But you guys smash cars up.
And we
No,
drove
they smashed me up.
on 51
difference.
Yes,
to,
a lot of difference.
where was that? Where,
Who's insurance company?
policeman
pays.
says-
Unless, of course, the guy who hits you doesn't have insurance.
Never
You
mind.
know,
policeman
Mercer,
Then he pushes up his bumper and says,
see that
"Your
arrow?
car don't look too bad."
Mercer.
And you look at him and laugh and you call the
And
police
I said,
anyway.
you turn up that road there and then you turn right up there. He says, the ways up there. He says, there's a road there that'll kind of lead you up to camp. So Ernst Lexman, we at night,
That's what happened.
we go that
He
way.
got out of his car, pushed
We
up his
drive,
bumper.
we drive, we drive, we drive.
I says, I think
And
we
boy,
should
at
call
last
the
there wasn't
police.
much of a road
Don't
anymore.
look too bad.
We see some lights in the
He
distance.
called the police.
This road is heading there. I said, well, to Ernst, I said, well, I said, we'll drive over there and we'll find out where we're
I
at.
keep forgetting which way I
We
gotta
go over
go.
there,
I
we
gotta
park
go.
the truck, open the door up, and there's Hank House. My dad, Bill, that's the place
Doesn't it
I
seem like maybe 11
I
o'clock?
drove right up
Doesn't
to the
meet
camp.
It starts too
That's
early now.
Well,
That's
then too,
because
we're not
we-
used to going and eating that early either.
No,
We
yeah.
go out to eat.
That's true.
So we went down to Oklahoma. Looking for Russell's place. I said, well, where is it? She said, I left the address of that at home. And we asked the guy
No, I
who
was
was working
supposed to
there
remember
doing
the
some
address of the
cement
telephone
work.
company, top number.
Asked him if he knew where Russell lived.
They all knew where I
Oh,
lived.
he said, I don't
Men-
know.
couple
Men
thousand
would go
people.
naked if we went find
Your
walls
cabin
for
pulls
them.
up alongside
And
of
we
the
love
car
it.
there. He said, hi, Grandma and Grandpa. I said, where do you live? He said, you're parked in front of the house.
Really?
Uh-huh.
You had stopped to ask
We
somebody?
stopped, there was a man doing some kind of work outside by the
Cement work.
house.
Cement
But
work.
everybody knows where Russ lives.
Yeah, no.
I send the Christmas cards to Russ along the river.
To Russell along the river. Russell Shore? That's only right there.
Well,
I
you-
Shore.
Remember
That's all
the
he
ones
says.
that go-
That's the
That's
only-
And I haven't got a card yet.
Russell Shore along the river.
Russ got a
He
card.
does all kinds of things like that.
You're right in front of the car is the sign. Sergeant Russell Shoy. Here, we parked in front of their house too.
You were stationed in Oklahoma?
Yeah.
I got a hound dog from Schneider. Was it close to Schneider, Oklahoma?
This was Enid.
Oh, I don't know where Schneider was. Oklahoma's got so many little towns,
Oh.
but you can see them all from one place.
Russell's house on the roof.
No, I mean, Oklahoma's one of these jobs. I used
Flat,
to,
so flat.
Enid is in the northwestern part of Oklahoma, and I used to go down to Wichita Falls in Texas, which is all the way through Oklahoma and then over the border a ways. And I would come home on weekends. That's the only time Donna let me come home.
She was no dummy.
And
She told me she hoped you only come home once a month, but
50, 60 miles away.
So level that country there?
Yep, just flat.
Wow.
And nothing else around for light, you know. If somebody has a farm there, you know, they got 5,000 acres or something like that, you know, so it's, you know, maybe a little building here and a little one there. So the light from the town of 500 people really showing up at night. So you'd be driving along at night and you say, oh God, you know, there's the next town, I'll be there in an hour.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
It just seems taking so much longer to
The
get
main
somewhere.
highway goes through there. You look over there, the big long.
They put the cows out on the week.
Like here.
Do they have many trees?
No,
That's why we went out
No,
west, I mean, we had car trouble.
And they all point north.
you gullies, you
Ugly.
know.
Oh,
They all
that's
meet.
terrible.
When we went out there
From the
west, you had a big flood out there.
Yeah. We had 24 inches? 20 something inches of rain in 6 hours.
Oh my gosh.
That's right after they had that bad one in
When we got there, the
the.
toilet paper was hanging from the telephone poles. That's how deep the
Got
water
killed in the
was.
Black
Oh
Hills there and them gullies.
We were about 6 blocks from home when it
Just a couple
started
weeks
raining.
after that. they
Yeah.
had
And
that
by the
one
time
in
we got home,
Oklahoma.
it was curb to curb.
And how they can have a
The
flood
water.
down there, I can't figure
And we're in the
out.
house, and the power's been on all the time in the radio, the
Brand
TV
new
station.
house,
We were
never
watching the
lived
TV
in South.
station from Oklahoma City.
Right up to
Yeah.
That
the.
was the closest TV station. And
Up the road.
they showed on the radar this storm, this severe
You know,
thunderstorm
just had that
going back and forth over Enid, Oklahoma.
Remember that? You hadn't lived there too long
They
yet.
had ditches
Yeah, all that
that the
rain.
Army Corps of Engineers put in around town
Some
for
of
the
them
flood
big
control.
culverts,
Yeah.
that was laid way
They
out
were
in the
full in an
field.
hour.
Oh.
And you could put houses in them. That's how big the ditches were. They were full in
In
an
an
hour.
hour.
Yep. The downtown, all the sewers blew. The new parts of town, they just washed away. Cars washed through them. There was a creek that you could step over. So in an hour, they were out there, and they had to have like 50 horse motors on the boats. That little creek was a quarter-mile wide then.
It was
And
just
the
a
current
little
wasn't
step
bad,
over
huh?
and then that's like-
And just almost every car in town, we were just lucky we were on the high spot.
Well,
They
Did you
washed
have water
away.
in your house too?
The one place, that big bridge, what?
Oh, no
Wasn't
water.
there that one big bridge that washed away too?
Yeah, Farmer Bridge. The interstate highway, 4-lane interstate highway, that washed, I think it was like 300 yards or something like that. That just washed away. Closest they could get to town was like 18 or 20 miles. It was just a big
How long did that rain last? Did you say 6 hours?
6 hours. That's
Six,
how.
it rained.
And we got 20 some inches. I think it was 24 inches of rain.
Yeah.
And it was all, you know, people were trying to clean up and it's all that clay dirt.
Oh.
People
Yeah.
coming in the
Oh, and
laundromat
it doesn't
and
even,
stuff trying
yeah,
to
it
get
doesn't
that.
soak in even
Yeah.
either with clay.
And what was it, that one couple was just in the process of buying a house in that one new area, but
Yeah.
hadn't signed the papers yet.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
And their house was
and
gone,
they
right?
were just gonna get flood insurance.
Yeah, the
Oh,
next
that's-
day, the Army Corps of Engineers was due in to approve Enid, Oklahoma for flood insurance. The next day.
The next day, now
Nobody
this
had
is
flood insurance. There were 2 people though, their house burned down.
Did the government come in there then and fix everybody and
Oh, of
build
course
them all
not.
new houses and?
Yeah.
Well, they didn't do nothing. All they did was took all the cars that had flood damage, you know, they had, I bet you 1,000 cars. They put them all on trucks and they went down to Texas and got sold in Texas.
Usually they bring them up to Wisconsin and
That-
sell
that
them
is
here for
Oklahoma. That's after they was taken down to
Texas.
Texas.
So dried out, had to be dried out
I've
down
never
there.
ever seen rain like that.
That's a lot of rain.
Gee, I wonder, like in Florida, I wonder if they got their homes starting to build and stuff. I mean, where that,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
what went through.
I'll tell you, that people had no business building there anyhow.
Well,
Well, this one, the whole city.
Yeah, but then,
I mean,
if you go to Rick and read about where they was built in, all that is marsh.
Well, that's Florida. The highest spot above sea level in Florida, I don't even think is 20 feet.
It's a tree over on the left-hand side of the road.
No, really. I think it's only I don't think it's 20 feet. I really don't.
That was some rain.
You mean all Florida or
Yeah.
just certain?
All of Florida. Yeah, their highest spot is a knoll somewhere.
You take the city of New Orleans,
during Christmas
is, I don't know, if it's
vacation
2 or
between
4
Christmas and New
feet
Year's.
below sea level.
Yeah, New Orleans, they've got it, that's why they have to bury everybody above ground.
Sea level.
Can't,
And they're
they-
off
But
the
no,
air.
Dad, they weren't destroyed from the water
New Year's
though.
Eve,
No,
they got
but I
I mean, so as far as
On New
saying they
Year's
should
Day,
build there
they
because
came to-
it was low land, it's got
Yeah,
nothing to
but
do
they
with
had,
the low
where a
land.
lot of
Those
those
guys,
guys built
they won't get hardly any.
is, they didn't have no, their homes.
Oh, no
They
basement,
don't-
no
no
water.
There's no place to go.
What about
Most of them stuff, over there.
During that. He didn't like that very well.
That's right, it's your anniversary, Mike.
This is all being videoed. Ask him,
Yeah,
ask him.
come on, see the light flashes?
They just had,
Corps of Engineers
You
built
gotta wait,
all these,
evaluate their.
Are we all
I
on
noticed
it?
he was pointing at
Really good.
beautiful leaves.
you know,
Oh, wow, that's nice.
Yeah.
And then
Pictures of us and
he has a.
The only one that's safe,
Yeah.
the only one that's safe is Uncle Lilas. He's sitting in front of the light to wait till next spring now.
There,
Go-
now we
go
got
with
Joey
your
doing a
down
jig.
there. Go
I
with,
stuck my tongue on it.
nephew.
Yeah, I was
That's
in the party
great
the
stuff.
other
I didn't know
day.
you had seen it.
No,
And,
oh,
he does a lot of business down there. That's where he gets most of his flowers from. Down that part.
I got one by the
Screw you.
baby one.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
he gets
What's the latest news on
flowers
that?
down
Oh,
there.
60 hours a week.
I wasn't there today.
There's a lot
When
of
I
that.
was there
You heard
Saturday,
that
that's
all
today
the
Saturday,
time.
when I was there
Does
Friday.
Sandy have oil in his house?
That Florida there.
And then
Yeah, they got oil,
Is
yeah.
they're doing a lot of
Wait
work
for
on
that.
They have oil?
Yeah, they get oil,
Yeah,
just
I
like you
knew
get wood.
What you got there now,
Plus their
you
own.
live in a
Electric
house
heat,
like
and
this here,
wood, electric heat too.
and
Yeah,
maybe tomorrow,
and oil, yeah.
you will
Hey
look
Rusty,
outside.
that's my
where
Aaron,
out
you
there.
know, we were discussing Aaron today, we
And
See a big alligator.
traffic
He's so
zones.
tight.
Oh,
And they have electric heat in where they're at, 62.
They're all.
62 he's got it set up.
Oh, that's how cold it is.
Yes, that's how cold it is, and that's how they shower and the little one runs around with barefoot and just that easier. And then Susan says, I would manage when Aaron isn't around, we turn that heat up. Yeah, she says, then the electric bill comes, then he goes, he put it up.
Yeah, electric
Just,
is really
oh,
expensive.
that's expensive,
That's all
yeah.
about what
But
we
just
pay.
imagine, such a
But I
tough
think what
man.
he said, he's
John's
in class.
driving.
And we got
What is he gonna
the end of December, the plaster's coming.
And
Very high
remember,
strung
I don't know how many-
Yeah, the furnaces and the doors and windows, everything. They can knock the doors down, see then, because they gotta have heat in there when they plaster it.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, that I
They were
saw.
all intact.
He
Yeah,
said,
gas,
"Oh, in a class
gas.
9 or a
But
class
then
10."
he's got that fireplace down cellar. So watch him
Yeah,
now.
that's all. Yeah, but that wasn't foundation, that was the other
I
side.
don't know, really, I said, well, that he is, boy.
Because I know they said this, and that there was a lot of screenshots of the way they did, if they would have followed the building codes like they were supposed
Rain
to.
blankets a
Most
week.
of those homes
And
stood
he
up.
goes and picks his own boughs, you know,
We have to
for
talk this loud
roses.
because Joey
And,
never
he
watches
gets
the news, she
8
never knows what's going on. Did you know there was a hurricane?
So look at 200. How much does he make a week?
What makes you think I never watch the news?
That's why he makes a great bucks a week.
Oh, Judy too doesn't.
What I say is, sure, he works in he has to watch it 6 times each day.
And then he comes home and Saturday mornings at 7 o'clock, he's in the woods right here on the house. And then every night, he's in the garage till 10, 10:30. And making, brake lights. No, he's your own. He is a...
All this
Well,
sort of
yeah,
stuff, and how he said they
But you don't
turned
see
everything
anything
over to the
online
computer
anymore.
for anything that's
They did
broken,
for about
or you
a
have to
couple
throw out
weeks.
because it's got knots in it or
But I
rough
don't
marks
wanna-
in it,
I
they
don't
have to keep
wanna
track of all that because they
So
You
that
have
must
must
a lot.
assume that everything's
all
all
this stuff
We're
is
back
going
to
through
normal,
it.
right?
So it's
Trees
Oh.
are there off the
young life.
more and more
Yeah.
all the time.
Pretty soon it'll be
They'll
passed.
still be old.
Yeah.
All they do is have
Well, see, now we thought like that over where Michael works, that they were getting, like they'd be going gung-ho all winter because there would be,
Yeah.
same way when they had the earthquake out in California, that there'd be a lot of demand for the windows and stuff. And they worked hard, and now last night Michael came home, he said that they gave permanent layoff to 20 people. Last night.
Permanent layoff.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think what they're doing is just calling out those people that don't come to work and those people that are just sloughing off.
Oh,
You
yeah.
have to do that once in a while.
Even
Where's-
some guys that were there for,
where's that?
one guy
Where
was
Michael
there,
works.
Michael said for
Oh.
5
Which
years.
place is that there?
And they
Colby,
were
Colby.
even training him, sending him to school for something else.
Maintenance, he was in maintenance.
Yeah, and they gave him permanent layoff. So now what he did or whatever, you know, sometimes when you don't have, sometimes the union isn't so good, but sometimes the union ain't so bad. I don't know if he did something or if there was just, you know, sometimes it's because you don't like the boss or the foreman. Sometimes it doesn't click. It's got nothing to do with your job.
Maybe he got caught doing something that he
That
shouldn't
could be
have
too.
done.
And sometimes you get permanent layoffs, they don't have no firing, an outright firing.
Well, some of these guys they fired, like on Thursday night, 2 guys they fired,
yeah, 2
they walked
guys.
them right out to their cars.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. They didn't even, you know, because I suppose,
What did they do?
I don't know.
Michael
Michael
said he
doesn't
don't
know. They fired them at the end of the shift, and they walked them right out to their cars. And I suppose it's so a guy doesn't put his hand in the machine and slap the thing
Yeah,
on and say,
right.
now you owe
Just
me
say, yeah.
compensation for the rest of my life.
Who
You
knows
know?
what they'll do?
Yep. So they walked them right up to their car and
They must have pulled.
Something must have been.
They had a thermal pane window in their pocket.
yeah. Got 2 guys on that. One on what he said, one in his department and one guy on casements. One guy did picture windows and one guy did casements.
A lot of
They
times
caught
you wonder what some of that stuff.
purposely breaking
Gotta be something
stuff,
that they
maybe.
Some of that stuff
Maybe they're
costs
putting
so
drugs
much.
in between the panes.
If you
to
see
shimmy.
what some of these workers sneak home with, I know the White Pine Copper Mine.
Pieces though.
They take these $30 crescent wrenches like that.
That's
They
really
cut them in half,
those kids, those
put them
guys
in their
that
lunch
take that all
pocket,
home.
take them home and then weld them together again.
Oh, yeah.
I'll bet you that $1,000 a day or more
Went home.
went out every day, went out
Look
of
at,
there.
look at that guy at Penny's. How long did he work there before they caught him? That was a couple of years ago. Sure, he was, I don't know where he worked, but he was,
Judy,
he
what
was
does the county
stealing,
have
he
that
was
we can
selling
steal?
microwave ovens and
Well, that,
all this other kind of, sure.
window,
He was selling all this-
Merle.
This stuff,
Same
I don't know
thing.
what department he worked in
The
or.
people walked out of there with stuff.
Anybody who has to go to the hospital because of an accident has to take an automatic drug test.
Yeah.
If you get, say you cut your finger and you got to have stitches, go to the hospital, you got to take an automatic drug test. And if you got alcohol or drugs or anything in your body, you're in big trouble.
Well, to me, anybody that drives a bus, a truck, or any commercial carrier should have to take the test.
Anytime,
Random drug test, never
anytime you're
renounced.
responsible for someone
Random.
else's life, which
Random,
means
okay.
every,
Random. If I was hiring him, it'd be random. You
right?
take the
No,
test,
well,
you
yeah, when
don't
you're
get
hiring
hired.
them, yes. But I mean, even after they're hired,
Yeah.
you should continue.
I think they should do it with everybody.
Wouldn't bother me.
Now, Michael cut his finger on a sander here the other night, his index finger, but he didn't have to go to the hospital. So I said to him, well, did they take a blood test from me? He said, no, I didn't have to go to the hospital, you know. But,
That one guy that they fired, that Tracy, was somebody who had cut his hand. He lifts the big
picture
glass panes, yeah. And he had cut his hand a while back, and he had gone to the hospital, and then they had found a trace of alcohol in his blood then. It wasn't supposed to be so bad, but they had still found some in his blood. So maybe, and then they gave him a different job for a while, so maybe what happened, now there was enough time in between that they could say his hand was healed, nothing is wrong with it, now we can fire you and not have you come along and say, oh, I can't move that bugger anymore, and the doctor can't find nothing wrong with it. Maybe that was why it was too. They covered themselves by keeping him on as long as they did, maybe.
You don't have a chance though.
If
That guy comes back and he says, I got hurt over there and this and that, there isn't a doctor alive that can come and tell you that that don't hurt and that don't bother you. You take that to the insurance company up there at camp.
Yeah, but that was years ago, that's.
Yeah, but they got sued there and they can't go to guys 2-3 years after that.
Or maybe,
And you cannot prove that it don't bother him.
or maybe they signed off. Maybe he signed off. You know, maybe they're getting smarter.
Very hard to win those cases.
yeah, they follow you around now. You get these people
yeah.
who complain they have a sore back and stuff. They see you out cutting wood with a chainsaw. They say, hey,
Yeah, we'll be
You ain't got
at
a sore
60
back.
minutes.
Yeah, the guy across the street from us, you know, he's had open heart surgery
I'll
2
give
or
you a
3
good
times.
case. A
2
real
times.
good case.
And we
Frank
get,
Singlewick.
we get insurance people who
There
come,
was a good
and
case.
they ask us questions.
He
They'll
was,
check him out.
he was,
Donna.
he was,
What do you see,
Burning
what do you
County
do him,
Oklahoma?
see him do?
Yeah.
Do you tell?
He
he
got
got his
Yeah.
insurance
A little
settlement
bit.
and the
I know
next
he
week he was
doesn't
working.
really
He
should
couldn't
be.
work before that.
But I mean, it
Well,
isn't,
here.
it isn't anything.
And then
Anytime
always walking.
You know, there are a lot of people
I ain't got
who
away
don't
with it.
try to
Discharged
collect
from the
insurance
service for being
for
disabled.
things they're not supposed to do.
A couple
say
months
after
later,
they
they
have a heart
picked him
attack
up
or
and put him
stroke,
in
they do
Leavenworth,
more than the
Kansas
doctor
for,
tells them they're supposed
he was working on an oil
I
rig.
mean, he rakes.
And he was,
And
he was gone.
yeah.
One of the boys hired
So
me.
one time I went over and,
He was drawing $1,600 a month.
you know, I wanted to,
Working in the oil field.
And
I had to do
He says,
his
I know
work
there
in the
are
service
things I
because
may do that I
he had hurt his back. He was
this
in
type of
town.
thing, he
I
said,
don't know
but
how long
basically,
it's been.
this
It's been
became
a year and a
Well,
half,
that's
2
so
years.
like
The second day
you
he
was
was
out
drunk,
there.
he twisted his
They
his
go
leg
from
coming
the
out,
welfare
so
check
the
to
truck
this
sitting out,
first
the truck
they come,
hurt
you
his
know,
back.
like,
oh, welfare check, he went in.
And then they come to the shop and they draw another one.
They pulled him, they were wheeling, and they got all the operating room,
The video
and they got
that
wheeled
she
down,
came,
she was a little ways
she
down.
was or something.
He said it
and
was
she
shot
had
and
like
it's
scars
just
on
gotta get welfare.
her butt end.
All you gotta do is
It was
lie.
too big.
He said.
And that's
So
doctors
that
my
move up
family.
here,
but not so much money.
Yeah, they had
In
cut
Wisconsin.
And then when he has it, then all the
Slabs.
guys from the neighborhood come in.
And that's
Why the taxpayer paying?
drugs.
If nothing else, we can come up with
Yes,
get weed
so did
stuff.
actually
Yeah.
under her system.
Anything.
Street stuff.
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars or something.
Or put them out, run a lot of wood.
She was from Columbia, and she had
Called mosquitoes.
the silicone breast implant.
They should have bread and
They
water
had
like
those filled up, but she had one of
they used to
each,
have. They
each
kept,
bun.
Come on, they have to have color
They
TV.
thought
I know what
they
they
were
Color
watching
TV,
her.
put in color
Then you go to
TV.
college
She
for
really
nothing.
has a really big rear end. So they strip searched her and then
They found fresh scars.
No, there's an awful lot of going on.
And they had actually inserted them under the skin in her derriere.
New homes?
What was she transporting? Drugs?
I don't seems like around.
Where was this?
Gosh.
Columbia.
So from now on, when I see one of them women, I can holler, stop!
Pull on your pants.
Good luck with the strip search.
No kidding, what? Jeez.
Steve got a catalog for
They
me
were,
today.
if you think about it,
The
they were
reason he got
really,
it,
they
you
were
see the
really
bra
putting
and then
themselves
once
on
you
the
get
line.
Joey.
Yeah.
Because if they hadn't found anything,
No,
They'd have just
They would've been in trouble.
they would have had the pictures they could sell, so that would have been it.
Surgery
What
like that
is
to
it?
bring drugs in.
think of the money that stuff was worth.
Yeah.
Yeah, but jeepers creepers.
Surgery twice, not
What's
once.
that? What's that? So,
Yeah, but if she would have made it across,
She'd have
She
enough
would've
money
been
to live
set
the
for-
rest of her life.
Yeah.
I mean,
In
people,
luxury. Who cares
Yeah.
if you have a couple scars in
people
your butt?
swallow
That's right.
balloons full of cocaine and stuff.
Yeah.
Time shutting.
oh, gosh.
Well, we would be good drug carriers because look at the size nose we got.
We don't have to do any surgery, just stuff a
Yeah.
little bit.
One of those bags rupture and you're dead.
Yeah,
They
but
don't
we
care.
use silicone, never
Dad.
use ruptures.
Dad, he wants to talk to me in private.
He wants to talk to Dad.
Oh dear.
You know, this drug deal is pretty hard to fool them dogs.
What are they going to do? Take a bite out of that woman's derriere?
No, them.
Irene.
Were you home last night?
We don't
Tonight?
see those blue eyes anymore.
And every one of them
Just
dogs
as Casey's
Oh,
are
you
drug
didn't have
addicts.
walkers on, huh?
that you
Remember
got
when
to
that's what the
find the drug.
How come you
They're
were
all
busy?
drug addicts.
Amy.
What time does he get up?
Amy.
Dog here,
Send me
I'll
reading.
go around like
3 o'clock in the morning.
They
Then
go
you go,
find that
he's not
stuff
been there,
right
so he's like,
there.
No,
Her dog here is different than the one with black.
well, yeah, you slept out. The last two nights,
You
I
made a
went when
mistake,
we
you got a
do it,
dog
3,
that's white,
3:30.
you
Well, I
got
kinda
black
didn't
hair,
know.
and when you wouldn't show on black pants. And since we don't wear white pants,
course
we
we
have
show
a
on white
problem.
pants.
Yeah.
Turn the TV
Who
on.
wears white
I
pants?
do.
White pants make you. Otherwise, I turn the radio on.
Do they? Only if you're not, if you're skinny enough, they don't.
Oh, that's why you were waiting.
Yeah,
You
sure.
think you're skinny enough.
Man, for glad.
In my
Yeah,
dreams,
Where does he sleep? Where does he
Right
sleep?
there on that rug.
Right there. Does he stay there? Does he stay there?
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. Unless if it's thundering and lightning,
Then you
then
like
she'll
this
be in the hall.
Yeah.
The kids take
Send
turns
it
holding a
on
gun
the
on
shore.
them.
You got all your friends here tonight, huh? Well,
she-
Randy, you
A
got all
long
your
time
friends
ago,
here?
when we came home from Joey's house, she had
She wants to come. but she's-
gone after a porcupine and she had quills
Oh,
and
no.
golf and stuff. And this was a quill that eventually kind of worked its way out or whatever, but it doesn't heal her. It's sore eyes, and then she scratches at it
Michael
sometimes.
said it looks better now.
It does.
It doesn't heal.
Finally, it does. I think it must have came out now, finally.
Oh, now it'll heal then.
I would think so. Yeah, because she had that for a
Rainy,
long
rainy,
You mean
Yeah,
that
long
hinder?
No, they're on the side of
See,
her
right
mouth.
by her mouth
Right
there.
Yeah.
Rainy, rainy, rainy.
No,
Yeah, you should have
that's
seen
just
the
her color.
quills I pulled out of her nose.
What did you do?
Did she let her, did she let you bite that?
No, I just took her head, you know, took her pliers and.
Pulled
Usually they bite though.
Yeah.
No, she'd howl a little bit, but she wouldn't bite.
Yeah, she's-
I know we had.
She had a lot of them in there. She was happy to get them out.
You had to put her to sleep.
That's when Bucky, I thought Bucky had a chicken bone in his mouth, you know, because he come by me and he was drooling, you know, and I had given him chicken, you know, but not the big things, you know, not the ones that crack.
Yeah.
So then I in his mouth and I got a hold of him down here and I pulled and I couldn't get that bone out. So then I on the phone and called the vet and Dad had the car, so I called Susan. So we intertowned him and the vet, he looks at me and he says, well, that bone belongs there. He says, that's no chicken bone. Poor animals. That's what the vet said.
No wonder Jennifer wants to go with the
And I thought that, I pulled on that. And I thought that had to come out. And it wasn't even a chicken. She just had grass in her mouth. And he had eaten grass. And you know how that pets when they eat grass. You know, them that. And he said, well, I took her home. I made warm milk. And I
You mean
woman.
Yeah.
Boy, he said, that bone belongs there. He said,
I wouldn't come any closer to
Oh.
that thing.
We're going to call the Humane
Poor
Society
animal.
when we get home. That's still remind me to call the Humane Society.
Yeah,
when we get
yeah.
home.
Oh, that. And he never, and you know, he
Don,
just laid,
every week could go by, you
you know,
could
he
look
I
back
thought
and
he would
forth.
bite me, but he just laid, you know, he had a pull on that.
She a lot of times she'll dig, you know, and then there'll be a root in her way, and she'll take with her mouth and she'll bite the root off. Well, then that root will get wedged between her teeth, you know,
Yeah.
at the top. Then you'll see her with her hands and with her feet. She's trying to, like that. I know right away what's wrong with her. Then you know, I'll just take and open up her mouth like that, get a hold of that root, and
then
there'll be a wedge right up in the top of her mouth, right between her teeth, where she'll just bite it right straight off, and then she bites it so clean that it sticks right to the inside of her mouth. Then she can't get at it to get it down.
To get it out, yeah.
Well, can you imagine yourself when you got something there?
This is the
Yeah, it's enough to drive you crazy.
Yeah, shiver.
That dog is like that one we had home.
Scared.
He'd go as far as the line fence.
Is he
And
old?
there he'd stop.
She's about 11 to 12 years old.
Oh, 11 probably.
Any dog crosses that line fence, there'd be hair flag. Lawrence and Clarence Creeblety drove by one time. They was all bragging about their dog. They had to come with a sled.
Over here, lady.
Came by there and they had their dog on a sled. Our dog was standing by the garage. Their dog jumped off of that sled and he came across that fence line. Boy, I tell you, their dog, he got back on that sled and that dog going quick, hurry, tell you. We wouldn't bother, wouldn't pay no attention to a dog on the other side of that fence.
Every word you
But
just said, son.
He came across.
Hey, Rainey must be 12. She
I'm
got
glad you
took him home with you at Christmas.
And was that 12 years ago?
That's because I remember sleeping on
We'll
the
draw that
landing
out
at
for the
Joanne's house
75th.
with-
Yeah, but was that 12?
Oh, yeah.
It must have been. Kara must have been.
People be alive then, yeah?
Sure, but
Yeah,
Brian,
of course it
Brian
could've
was
been
born,
11.
wasn't he?
Well, Brian was born
Well,
by
the
Kara,
It's going to be
just a
bread
couple-
pudding.
I don't think we were Brian that Christmas. It had to have been.
Oh yeah, it
the
must have been the next Christmas. It must be
6 more
11.
years
Yeah,
we both.
but they were little enough because I know
Yeah.
Kara laid on the. Kara and I slept on the
I was
landing.
reading something when we all came by your house, and there were people laying all over on the lane.
Hey, but you know something?
Yeah,
That
and
was
Steve didn't believe it, you know.
Masses of asses
We were
everywhere.
supposed we were supposed to be there. Masses of asses
Oh.
everywhere.
It was.
You had to watch when you went to the bathroom.
that
that you
on,
didn't
right?
step on.
All you
All of us were there.
All you were
And we had all the kids.
Wasn't it the weather or something?
Well,
Yeah.
Judy
early.
Judy had surgery, so then she went earlier, and you and Dad were there. And then we were going to come the next morning.
Oh yeah, then it
Early.
was supposed to snow.
And they said that we were going to have this bad snowstorm, so if you were going to go someplace, you should go. Sure, Steve, so we decided to go, and Steve thought, yeah, sure. And when we came, I mean, there was
They got
nothing by then, but we had oodles of snow.
No, it wasn't snow. It was ice.
There was snow too.
There was
Oh,
snow,
yeah.
because
But
it
it
was
was
like
ice.
knee deep, wasn't it?
I know 29 wasn't,
Because
when we came home, wasn't the best
yeah,
of
It
roads.
was snow.
Rick and Mary had said that it was
it was just ice. She says the cars couldn't even move.
Well, the snow.
But there
had
was
everything.
snow though too,
Well,
because remember there was
snow too.
that car in the ditch, you thought it was us?
There was snow.
That was on the way home.
And it was
Yeah.
slushy, and you
That's
had
what I
these deep ruts. I remember we
It
stopped
seems to me that same day, after we got through there, was somewhere around Thorpe or something like that. There was that accident and a couple people got killed.
It is snowing.
We stopped in.
It was around that neighborhood anyhow.
I remember that, we went through there too.
Yeah, there was an accident, a bad accident.
Yeah, didn't one of you see it or?
Yeah, we did.
Well,
yeah.
we went past it, yeah. They went by, they were behind us yet. Don and Joe were behind
Well,
us.
That was the one that the car that looked like yours?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a car that looked like Sandy
It
Dunn,
was
and we
like their
thought
car.
we thought it was them. We pulled off to the side. I said to Joe, you have to stop. I said because
I was just shaking when I went up to ask them.
well they had the four boys, and the oldest one was a year and a half. You know, not even the youngest, yeah.
I was gonna say, holy smokes, now how did they do that?
That was pretty tight.
And I said, Daryl, you have to ask
Yeah, it
them
was
because
around
if it was them, we have to find out where they took them. We have to be there. I said,
It was
Sandy and Donna,
closer to
we have to be
Ellensburg,
there by the
I think.
boys. They gotta have somebody they know
Yeah, there were at
because
least
they're
2
gonna be
killed.
scared out
Wasn't
of
it like
their
a
mind.
4-lane or something because they were in the middle? Weren't they?
No, it wasn't 2 lanes.
It was 2 lanes. Oh, I seemed to me like they were in the middle of the 4 lanes in the middle.
See, I
No,
thought
it was
I
in the
thought
field. The car
Yeah,
was in the field.
It could have been just by the
But I-
town, you know, where they got that,
But I thought too.
No, it was out in the
there
country. There was
I
a
don't know
house
where
on
it
the
was.
corner. There was a house on this corner, and then over across the street, that's where the car was in the ditch, and there was blood all over. There was blood on the road.
But it then sort of went down the hill. What you said about it looked like you could have went into the median down the hill.
That's what it looked to me.
But it was not. It was only 2 lanes.
And Daryl, didn't you say that they had told you that it was a
We
semi?
got another thing in the mail.
A lady had run in, and
We got
a lady
different kinds
and
of fluorescent bulbs.
a
Now they
kid, I
go
think.
up
There
to
was just 2
100
people in the
I don't
car
remember
hit a
if it was a
semi.
semi or not.
I think that's what
The
they had told
I think I'm
you.
gonna order me some.
the worst accident.
We've got 3, 4
I
of them
didn't
like
see
that, so
that
that's the last
actually
one
happen.
Oh, yeah.
Was at
You
Clintonville,
leave one of them suckers on.
where a train
All day long for what it costs to have
hit a car.
regular one.
The longer you leave them on,
Crossing.
the more money it saves you.
Carol
Because
upstairs,
those
Schultz
Or maybe
couldn't
that's
do
not-
anything to that car no more with her press, because that was pressed already. And then it ran and that's all we're at.
130 watt circulars.
That's all ahead of me.
I seen
Well,
that.
see, we ate it.
And he pulled on the
Yeah,
track
$7.
and stopped.
What was
7?
6?
But doesn't
Why do you
Southern
stop?
Public Service give you some
Why
money
do you
off on that
stop
too
on the
yet?
track?
No, they're normally
Yeah.
20 something.
Oh.
That's the way I understood it. He got rumbled with his
They
wife.
even have them, the circular ones, where there's
He
a,
settled the argument right there and there.
Did he get out of the car and
Like a
he was
cover.
right
He was
Come
out
on.
of the car.
you know, a panel that goes on, makes them look like a light fixture if you put them in the ceiling.
Where
Him
did they
in
get
the
killed?
car.
That costs a
that
couple
car-
bucks extra.
Yeah.
But,
That car was dismantled.
so I'm
Did he
gonna
get
order
killed
me
too,
some
or
more of
just
those
his
things
wife?
again.
Huh?
Did he get killed? Just his wife? Oh, okay.
She not?
We just got some
You wouldn't
in the mail
feel
this
it.
week.
Oh, she.
Yeah, those are new ones again.
Go right in there.
I'm gonna
Right
order
in
me some
the
more. I had $100 worth of them other ones.
Oh, yeah.
And at Rhinelander too, when I was working there,
And it makes a
going to
difference.
eat.
Oh, yeah.
See the
You
guy
got,
coming
if you got
around
a
the
light that
corner?
you leave on and all, you know, you can
And real
like that
slow,
one
like
there
they
on.
going around
You
the
can leave
corner
that
like
one
that
there on
and slump
5
over.
times, almost 6 times as long
Then
as an
You run
incandescent
into
bulb,
one of
100 watt
these,
incandescent bulb.
light standards, you know,
For the
the
same
big
amount of
pole
money,
like
yeah.
they had there. And the car stopped there.
And they
He
last
had a heart
a
attack.
long time. It's a big
Yeah,
investment.
or-
Well, you know, they're $5.
Well,
But
that
outside, the
Guy
one I
who
got in
came
the
in
yard.
to teen
by that-
school,
I
did you
don't
read
know
that
what
in
I
the
call that
paper?
pole that's my yard light.
Grandma,
That one's been in there
this
a year.
grandpa came to pick up his kids after
And I used
school.
to change bulbs in there.
His 2 grandkids.
Yeah, about once a month.
Oh, yeah.
And he backed up and hit a car, and he
I
went
just
forward
changed
and
the
hit
one
a
up
car,
on
and he
our-
backed up and hit a
in
car,
our
and he
pole
put
up here,
forward
I
and
was in
hit a
there for
car, and
20
went
years,
across
in
the road, he hit a
19
light post, and he backed up and hit a
But
car,
when
and
you
went
said
across
that the
and
other
hit a
day, I
car.
should have remembered to
And
check
this
with
was
my
all
neighbor.
when all the
I
kids were
probably
coming.
could've
They
got
said
one
it
for
was a
free.
miracle that nobody was
you know,
killed,
he was
and
drunk.
he was
That
drunk.
bulb cost
Yeah.
us about
That's
20 bucks.
across
19
Florida,
something.
that's Florida.
That's sweet. Did he die?
Landpeckers,
No.
no neighbor.
He was just
He
drunk.
didn't-
He
wasn't
didn't
that-
hit anybody
250 watt
hard,
bulb.
but all these kids
I
were
never
coming
heard
out
the
and
name.
saying,
It
he would have hit
lasts
a
all
and
those years.
I don't
That's
remember
not
what
that
name
bad.
it was.
Of course, I don't leave mine on. I don't leave mine on.
Lorna's neighbor, Lorna
On the,
Landpecker.
on the carton, it said that they're guaranteed to last at least 2,400
He said he
hours.
had enough something to drink.
But you know, if you figure if you leave them on 12 hours a day,
How would you like him to
Like
tell
that.
your grandson to have to go back to that school?
What, 200 days? which is less than a year.
There's him.
That's all they really.
I mean, you see it in the paper now.
So I,
I've seen it
like
two
I
or
said,
three
we don't
times
use
when
ours
they're talking
that
about
much.
something
We don't
different
need it
has
all
to
the
be
time.
done with the way that setup is.
Yeah,
Because
there's
the
no
kids
place
are
to walk.
walking, there's no place where, when the kids
No
are getting on the
shoulder
bus
and
and
no-
everything to protect them. And it's true. I mean, they were really, really lucky with all those kids running around. Because I think he hit seven times he hit something.
Do the water savers, the one that's upstairs.
Yeah.
I mean, so he had to have been drunk enough that he couldn't,
Then
that
he
he
didn't
did someplace,
stop.
yeah.
Once he hit a couple cars,
I
he
got one in my
thought he would just
bathroom I
stop.
really like. I can
And then to go
you
across
turn
the
it,
road and hit the light
and
post
you
and
can
come
turn it down
back.
to nothing to it stops it, or you just keep on turning it, and the more higher you turn it, the more water leaves out of there. I like that one. Sandy doesn't like it. She says it's too heavy a spray.
In your bathroom.
What are you talking about?
Shower.
heads.
I don't like having the shower
We can make
head.
ours heavy, like,
I like the one that's in this shower here.
I like our old one better than that new one.
But we've tried to find a new one like this, we can't find
That's
one like
because
this.
they only have power saver ones. And I'm
This
sure-
one saves much more than those other ones do.
How many gallon a minute one is it?
You can adjust it.
It's about 1 pint.
Touche.
Shower?
Drop.
Yeah.
Drop. Just enough to get in
You know,
between
Sandy,
there.
what I mean is the one that I just got
What
from
have
my
you got, an
I think
eyedropper?
that says 2.5 gallons a minute. 2.5
How
gallons a
did you
minute.
put yours in already?
Yeah.
How do you like it?
The shower head?
Yeah.
I'll get another one.
you know,
The one
like
that came
you
with
know,
it, I'll get a water saver one like I have upstairs. One that's much more of a water saver.
Because the ones that we looked at were never very good. I'd be interested to see what yours looks like, what it's like.
One of those cheapy $7 ones from Menards, I think it is.
How much did you pay for ours, Les?
14.
And all you can do with the one I have is you turn it, you can either have a real hard spray out of the middle, or it sprays around the outside, which is a pretty light spray, or you have them both on.
Don't you have the
Same
pulsator on there?
No.
See, we got the pulsator too.
That's nice, I like it. Well, you don't like it.
You know, you can have that water so hot that you can't stand it. You turn that pulsator on, you can stand under it. It don't feel hot at all.
Of course, Mom has no water to wash dishes.
It just goes like that all the time.
I read in some magazine in the doctor's office that you were not supposed to take a real hot bath. That's not good for you.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. I know, and I just love them.
Yeah,
It's not good for your skin.
Yeah.
No, it's got
No,
something
no.
else.
No, I told you once, maybe you read it someplace too.
Or
But
maybe
they said
you-
that you're not supposed to take a real hot shower or go in a real hot bath because it changes your blood pressure so fast.
And your nose is
That's
broke.
what it was.
Yeah, she always tells me to take a cold shower, and I don't like that either.
I would suppose ice cold wouldn't be necessarily so good either, but
It's the
Um,
same
No,
type
that's
of
supposed to be real good.
Yeah, it is.
Especially in those
Especially
spas.
for women.
Yeah, it is.
isn't that funny that
God, I
you can hear
can't
the
think of the
train
name of
as
the guys out
far
in
away as it is
California.
from here?
One of them,
So they go through this place.
his wife
I
was,
can hear the
the
rumbling.
girl he
yeah.
married was
They aren't just.
Her
Where
mother
did
was
that go away?
The
Filipino and
closest that
Thai.
train is to us is where it is way down there
And-
by
and
the
she
park.
talked about-
That's the closest
By the
it
park.
is. From there
About
on, it
she-
just
she
keeps,
was
it's
renting an
the
office
same
one day,
distance
talking with
away
the
or
guys,
farther
talking
as it
about
goes, because there's
how,
the bend. So it isn't any closer
they
than that.
take
You
care
know
of
how far
themselves
that is to
different
go
than
down to
American
there.
women do, and they don't
That's
have
a train.
sagging
Can you hear
butt-
that?
sagging breasts.
Yeah.
I thought you
So
were.
that's what the windows
They
close.
take cold water,
People talking.
when the cold water and throw it out.
From the mill.
And then, you know, that
Makes you wonder what people
Oh,
live
that's
in.
true.
Exposure.
A day.
She learned from her.
We had some that really
Don
were.
would know.
I
That's a
know
really
it's
weird
like
sound.
around
Yeah.
the
I'll have to try that.
in the morning,
even
I
sound
go
like it
down
used
to. You mean I
to
can throw away my
on 7
I don't know what it is.
o'clock, and I know-
It's almost
I don't know
understandable
what
that
the
there's a
days
possibility
were like.
that that
And
might
I
do
think
something.
By the time the kids
I don't
come
know.
home from school again.
Just put some ice cubes on it and see what
Does it
happens.
work with the
Yeah.
stomach?
Like
We
now.
go fishing.
No.
And you can
Oh,
tell
darn.
if you're on the track. You can tell when the train is coming because you can feel that vibration of the track.
Yeah, that's like that chair I got now. You turn that on, you can feel that all over the house just about if you crank it up.
That was like
You mean
vibrator.
The high price one you
chair
bought?
for
Yeah.
$5, huh?
Yeah, like those art link letter ones.
You should see that
Oh,
chair.
yeah.
How much did I pay for that one?
Oh, no, that's when you paid for $1 for
It
it.
was either $1.50.
Oh my God.
Where'd you get that?
That's must be a ticket.
And that, I'll bet you that church
It was, yeah, well, they ran, the VFW ran it, yeah, there was an auction at the
and there's
VFW.
nothing
had it.
wrong with it.
You get a smile when you sit on it?
Well, it depends if you can get somebody to sit down there with you.
Oh. In other words, the vibrations aren't quite that heavy. Huh?
Michael, where's Randy?
It's pretty neat, it really is.
It's one of them really a lounging chair.
Yeah?
Takes all the tension out of your back.
And for that amount of money, I tell you,
By your knees.
I offered him
Yeah,
to double
I
his
think
money.
Hey, you always tell it to you?
Joey, take Steve with you.
Yes, don't worry about it. Are you
Well,
swimming?
Steve's been exceptionally quiet. I don't know.
That's because he's almost sleeping.
Are you?
That's the only reason he's ever been quiet since.
Look who's talking.
Didn't have a chest.
Yeah, there, now we know. Party's over. Nice party.
Yeah, we'd probably had this supper someplace, there'd be a lot of young people over there. Steve would have probably known a lot more people there than we know.
Never know.
Like when we used to go over to Lakeview here. When you'd come over there at 9/11, there'd be people around him going to school over there. I had went to school or...
Yeah.
Boy, Lakeview, that's a long time ago again already.
Now that's a church. Yeah, we even built
Oh,
another
yeah?
piece on the back.
Yeah, that's right,
I
they
didn't
did,
know
yeah.
that. It's been a long time since
Yeah,
I've been
burnt
past
down.
it.
Yeah,
I
I
can't
remember
think what kind of church that is either.
I don't know either.
It's a different kind of a church.
Yeah.
I
It's,
think it's
Bible
the Church
Truth.
of Latter-day Drinking and Dancing, isn't it?
Bible Truth Church or something.
Yeah.
Well, Lakeview is, well,
Oh,
it's probably
yeah,
that order.
Anti-drinking, dancing, and having fun.
I seen a gal come out the other day that had a cigarette in her hand. So,
Oh, yeah?
but she was smoking
Hey,
outside.
Talking about
you listen to that guy,
Russian
you know, that preaches there, you listen to him, he can make one darn good sermon.
Is he on the radio?
Oh, yes,
Did you have a
every
good
morning.
time, Alan?
Yeah.
Every Saturday, every Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Why are you recording all
this? Thanks, Joey.
He looking for something to do. I didn't have nothing else to do, so I gotta try to run the bathroom down one.
Hi,
The New Testament.
I'm Brian.
Not that close, you're a blur.
That's taking a picture, it isn't a microphone.
You have
talking
You have to come over here, Brian.
I know, but he's
Come over here and now talk to them.
They have to be about this far away. You can see
Sing a song or something.
I always stick to Yeah.
I suppose I'll see you again too soon.
Try that shuffle again.
No.
Wasn't that it? No. Oh, I'm still working on it. We'll see you next week, huh? 6 o'clock.
Okay, next week it's 6 o'clock.
I'll be early.
He's coming back up. He's coming back up.
See you next week. I really think you ought to take your daughter off school.
All these joy.
Well, she can learn too.
What?
The eldest
You
one.
guys invite everybody over.
Bye, Julie.
We'll see you next week. Bye.
When are you going back?
Huh?
Bye.
Good seeing you again.
You smell all the dogs? I got lots of dog smells on me right now.
See you tomorrow.
3 big ones and lots of little ones. Yes. Yes, I do. Oh, wow. They're right around this way.
Yeah. Should we come before?
Jennifer out
What?
there.
Yeah, you do that, you do that.
Okay.
I hope you see her.
That thing was on.
See, you
I
talk
waved
loud.
to
We know it was on. I did the jig and waved and did my sexy faces and everything.
Doesn't matter if we're recording. We can talk a little here. Oh, wow. I know. Like, get in front of it and make whatever you say.
See, it's focusing in on you.
It is?
Actually, you're a little too close.
Bye, camera. Can we carry it around, you know? Bye, camera people. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for everything.
Bye, Sean.
Hey.
Bye. Hope you have fun, Grandma.
Well, Archer's pretty quiet, you're gonna get your dog tomorrow anyhow.
Have a safe trip back tomorrow.
Yeah, they gotta come to pick up their little dog.
Yeah, you too. sheep man.
Yeah, that's what.
There you go.
In Ellsworth, yeah, but
Ellsworth,
there's
Wisconsin.
too many sheep men, though. You have to be a nurse like
The sheep man that teaches school.
Yeah.
Or Dr. Carlson, the sheep man.
No, they don't know who he is.
No, Steve the sheep man that teaches at River Falls. Steve the sheep man, professor at River Falls. Ellsworth, Wisconsin.
I'm not kidding you. We used to go, you know, over Learmon's and
It's snowed out too.
A little bit, dusty.
He'd be along with us. We'd go there to eat, and he'd have more doggone people around him, and everybody knew him because there's so many of them from around this part of the country go to school there.
Are they all in one car?
Yeah.
In the time Russell and me, we went and picked up that refrigerator.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
little
she had a dog. Yeah.
That Judy's new car?
And I looked out there and that dog was tied up. And I said to myself, that has to be a pup from one of them dogs from Joey and Steve. It has to be. This comes so far, this girl who's got the heater from, or that refrigerator from, used to go there and, when Joey and Steve came over to our place or someplace, you know, to went someplace, she'd take care of the sheep and take care of the farm for them.
Oh, yeah.
And,
You can turn that off, Russ.
and I asked her about that dog. And she said, they gave me that dog. I wanted a dog. They gave me that dog.
So when do you go back?
I'm not sure.
Bus or? Those are not any fun. They stop at every bird.
With
On
the bus?
line,
You
don't
gotta go
they?
back?
I came home from Superior once on the bus. I mean, places I never even heard of.
Yeah, 'cause
Oh, we're at
it takes,
bus
what,
stop.
2.5 hours to get to Madison, between 2.5 and 3. It takes, what, 5 hours on the bus?
Yeah, they stop at every.
How far when you get to the bus station, how far do you have to go then to get to school back to your door?
About 3 blocks.
Oh, wow. That's nothing.
You can play, Jason.
Do you have to change buses too?
Yeah, I think so. I might, I'm not sure. They'll say if I do or not.
Yeah, because it's not so bad if you don't have to change buses. You
They
just
tell
kinda,
which bus you have to take, though.
Yeah. I mean, because you can kind of just kind of settle in
When
and
do you have to leave?
take a nap,
But then
set a little
He
alarm
doesn't
clock
know.
on your
He
watch.
doesn't know. Yeah.
I think it's the same bus that Julie always took to Milwaukee.
They changed it, though. They changed it.
Yeah, well, we gotta call it, I know.
What time was that one? I hope it's not the one that's up here, though.
I think that, yeah, they used to have, I don't know how they do stuff now, but they used to have one there would be like a transfer point at Stevens Point for going to different directions. And there was another one, I think they transferred sometimes at Appleton to go one way to Madison, the other way to Milwaukee. But they change those routes all the time. So.
And didn't Judy and I take the bus down to Appleton? You were down there to try on
I think you got buses though that goes right from Wausau.
I think you did. I think you did.
I think we turned down.
It depends on which one you get on.
Did you want something else to drink? What about you, Mom or Dad? Something else?
How much you buy a ticket for?
I'll take a ham sandwich.
You're out of luck.
I thought you were gonna say a chicken one.
Dad, did you want something else to drink? Mom, did you? Russ, did you want a whole beer?
No,
Is he drinking
just a
water?
little champagne.
Are you drinking water? Oh, he's drinking
Austin's
some
Monty.
What about you?
No.
Donna, do you?
Oh, this stuff tastes good too.
Donna, me?
No.
Where'd Daryl go?
Yeah, I was just looking around too. He's probably
I think he went with
sleeping.
Joy and Steve.
Oh, what's going on with that?
Now, the last was Adam talked to him.
Yeah.
Was that the end of it?
No, Daryl
he
came
came
back.
back.
Oh yeah, Daryl's.
You may go to that.
Maybe he's even got to walk around a little. Is his back bothering him sometimes?
No, he hasn't mentioned this.
I mean, but you don't know, he's sitting around a little more isolated.
He hasn't mentioned anything.
I was wondering that one car I didn't know. That's your new one, huh? See? I knew there was one car I didn't
See,
know.
a little bit it must snow because there's
Yeah.
snow.
Cars are
Just a little dusty.
Cars are.
One of these days we're gonna get it though.
Think so, huh?
Ross, it's only
November.
We gotta have frost first before we get snow.
Yeah.
Hey, I had to go to work when I dug horseradish up. I had, ground was froze that deep.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, that I had to bust out. I had to stand on the spade, wiggle the spade back and forth to get it in there. And then I had to just keep going around like that to bust pieces off.
Well, I had to break ice to get my outboard motor out of the barrel.
Right?
Well, did you have a long trip on that
That's
boat?
the water pump's some good too.
Well, I didn't know water pump on that,
No?
but the air cooled.
Oh, then.
I was wondering when the water came out of that when you started it up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It just adds.
What's that, a Lawson or Larson or what?
The Lawson.
Lawson.
You eat on that rug, yeah.
Yeah, the woods though, you know, you get the
wonder
layer
who
leaves
bought
and
them
stuff
out.
on there. Takes quite a bit of frost to get through that.
Oh, you can say that again.
Because the woods are pretty wet.
Oh,
They
yeah.
aren't dry.
They could use a good freeze over.
Yep, that's what I'd like. About a week and a half of good cold weather first, then let the snow get on top.
I don't make no drives anymore. I made my share.
Now
You
it
don't
just
care.
babysits.
Oh, you don't hunt at all?
Yeah.
That's
They
kind of
I
like,
made my share drives.
I've made my share of drives too. Downtown,
I'd rather
Kmart,
drive.
Shopko, Target.
If I could, I'd rather drive anytime than
No, I let Christy and Adam drive me.
see more deer driving than you do posting.
Well, when you post it, I mean, isn't that get awful cold too?
A lot of times it does.
Yeah, because you're because at least otherwise when you're driving, you're walking.
Well, you freeze
know.
your butt off.
Not if you see deer. If you see deer there, that ain't cold there at all.
That keeps you
I
excited,
suppose
you know,
you'll
makes your
rent-
blood,
well, I
keeps your
can
blood
remember
pumping.
years when I didn't see
When I post, I don't have no mittens on either.
No?
Yeah, there have been years where Daryl has come home
Uh-uh.
and he's not seen it, one deer. And he says that's a real long hunting season.
Yep.
No, I like those
Oh,
hunting
person
seasons
can
when
shoot with
they
mittens
filled
on, I
up
never
their
could
quota
understand.
by the first Sunday. They hunted Saturday and Sunday. No
Does
dogs on the
Does
country.
Daryl hunt too?
Yeah.
Oh, he does.
And bow and arrows hunts too.
Oh.
He
He
got
went up
Does
there
Adam
too, or he
work?
done, yeah, with the rifle. Up
He,
on him there.
well, he hunts with deer. They didn't hunt. Where did they hunt? Yeah, somewhere up there. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't remember where. They're
but-
hunting somewhere different this year though.
Rosie, I don't know.
Schmelzers have gone in
For
there
bow
and
and
they've
arrow
taken
too?
all the
I don't
stands
know
where
where he's
they,
going with a bow.
where they
That's
had
what I
set
mean.
everything, shelters
Bow
and
and arrow,
everything.
he
The
does
schmelzers have taken
over
all
by
that
Don's
over.
house.
Yeah.
There's a place that used to be a shelter.
Just
That
about,
they kind of
just about the city
filled
limits.
over and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
nobody
And
builds and everything
so
else.
they're
That's
hunting
in-laws,
all different
so-
places
well,
now. So
Oh,
Adam
my
got his
sister
buck
married
killed
a
there.
Schmelzer.
They're outlaws.
They had a
Not
big-
in-laws, they're
yeah.
outlaws.
Yeah.
They had a big family, and so they had a big.
Yeah, but you
Like,
you should be nice to people. For
And
Pete's sakes, life has enough pitfalls and
Oh,
all
yeah,
this
yeah.
to
They can
screw
do that.
people all the time,
Who are you
right?
talking about?
Schmelzers.
what do they do? Post? You mean? Or?
Well, they get everything ready for hunting, you know, they build
They
themselves
build like
places.
shelters and
Where
there's
they
spots
can
where
sit
they've been
behind.
hunting for years and years and years and
Yeah.
and they went up there this year and the Schmelzer boys have gone into all that and changed it and made it all theirs.
Wow, whose land is it?
It belongs to
Paper
a
mill.
logging
Oh,
paper mill.
well, then
I
you go in
see.
there and you go back in
Oh,
there and
I
you knock
see.
them all down.
We
See if
Yeah,
you can
they're-
put them up.
Yeah, but
Most
people are
likely that's
starting
out
to
there,
get
Get
scared to
scared.
go up there. I mean,
No.
who wants to hunt with those guys?
cropland, forest
Oh,
cropland.
it
Yes,
is,
yeah.
yeah, it's forest crop.
They got no right, you can't.
Yep, that's right.
But they can stop them from using their roads.
Yep.
You cannot use the roads,
You have
Well,
to
you
go
don't
in
need to
there.
get hunt on it though.
but not go in there with no
No,
three-wheelers or
no.
anything.
No,
And they
no.
do.
We're
They do.
Who? Schmelzer?
Yeah.
Well, that's illegal too.
That's right, that's
Like
illegal.
Well, maybe they'll get caught one of these
They
days.
did last year.
a couple of years
Don't
ago,
stop them then, huh?
somebody in
No, it's that get often enough it will stop.
They got 2 of them last year because I saw in the paper.
That time, the next year, the time they get caught, it'll be a little more.
by Cranes there, a couple of years ago, in the Cranes land there, somebody built a big stand, you know, in a tree like that. The crane goes over there with the doggone chainsaw and cuts the tree down. That's one way of doing it.
Yep, yep, there's your stand, right?
Huh?
There's your stand.
Well, you know, you.
Well, there's
you
one
don't
man I
feel
wouldn't
like-
want to screw over.
Huh?
There's one man I wouldn't want to screw over.
Who's that?
Bobby Crane.
Okay, that son of a gun is tough.
Now, is he the one that's as old as me, or is Billy the one that's as old as me? One's
Billy,
as old as
Billy.
Judy and one's as old
Yes.
as...
Billy.
Robert is as old as Judy.
Those are
I would
those
freeze to
Arlo-
death.
Ryan's boys,
Arlo always saves me all the,
You see him there?
all the
It's
Croc.
0, 10 below 0.
country crock.
You go to Rick and swear it is
yeah?
20,
When
30
you see
above.
He gives them to.
And then little Billy last year. That doe Russell had was a big doe. And he picks that doggone doe
What does she
up
know
and he
you want
carries
there?
it out. And that had been a good half a mile.
Deer fat and.
He
Oh,
carried
really?
it out.
Milk.
I think that doe weighed more than Billy did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got some too, I got one too.
Okay, he would put them in there. That's
What does he do otherwise?
He's a repo man.
I don't know
Oh,
if he
yeah?
is he still, I think he is
For who?
for the military.
No, not the military, for a credit union.
Oh. Yeah, but most of it is military guys, you know. What he's telling us, you know.
Yeah, it's military guys because
Yeah.
it's a military credit union.
Yeah.
A base credit union.
To make
But
the
then
car
he goes
payments,
to college too.
if they don't make the car payments, he hooks on and hauls them out.
Looks for them, and
You don't haul them, I had somebody else do it.
he was involved in the fuel though. He says it gets exciting.
I imagine.
But as far as the prices they get for them after they repo or repossess them, their prices ain't so good either yet.
No, that's true.
But I suppose they figure rather repossess them so that the guy who's trying to screw them doesn't have the car,
Yep.
even if they don't get their money back. I mean, that's the way I look at it.
Yep.
If it takes me as much money as they don't want to pay me to get back at them so that they're out of it too, I feel a lot happier than them having it to fool around with. Dad, you're squeaking.
His shoes are squeaking.
It's a C-sharp too.
This
see
morning
what
this
shoes
morning he
we
was
get paid
upstairs
for.
playing accordion.
They say if
Yes.
the shoes squeak, they ain't paid for.
Well, whoever had them before I did, by God, he had better pay for them.
You know
because I'm not
you
paying
know
for
whose
them.
shoes those are? Pa's.
Your dad's?
Pa.
Oh, yeah?
Oh my gosh, they're nice.
Well, I got by without having usher duty tonight. Wonder how it went.
Oh, you were at church
Yeah,
today,
yeah,
didn't you?
Get somebody?
Usher tonight. Yeah.
Did you call anybody, or you just not sure?
No, I called. Guy told me he'd do it.
I'm supposed
Who's
to
your neighbor?
tomorrow.
No, he can't do it. He's
Tom's
not an
isn't
elder.
tomorrow, his is the
We're
next.
greeter, me and a lot of greeters tomorrow.
Oh, you are.
Yeah, we're greeters.
I'm next week.
Your greeters next week? Oh,
Yeah, if I didn't have a good pair of shoes, I'd go to Kmart.
he call you
I
up?
got two more times to
From the
do it,
last
and then
time.
I'm done.
They look like
Yeah, I
a
should
shoe
work.
I
line.
think that's the way
Oh,
to
yeah.
that reading business.
It's 4 years.
Oh,
They
I
told
like
they
that
were oohing and
Well,
ahhing.
now
and
you
I
put
told
them
them
on
I
the
was
figure
done.
out. 99
Yeah,
cents.
yeah,
That was
that's
enough.
true.
Yeah.
The last pair I got for 5 years I've been wearing.
Although I think sometimes, if you sometimes just having friendly
You wear
ushers
better than the
is
That's
as
the
good as
elder
having
one,
a reader, you know.
One of them
EFW.
Yeah, you said that.
fur lines, what you get
He came
for
to see Grandpa.
$19.99. I
And
think
he
it's
left
the
the card.
best
It
one
says,
to buy
Don't your
it.
feet get hot in there?
Pastor
Don't
your
Elver's
feet get hot?
Not that bad.
Here, let's see.
God, my feet would sweat to death.
For your devotions or
Well, you
something.
don't wear them all the
It says,
time, but you know, there's times that you can
One
use
hymn
them,
each,
you know,
call
pair of
it
shoes
or
like that.
So
And
he
I'll tell you,
just has
I
to
hate to
say
go there
comes
and
up
be
to the
slipping on
hospital.
these damn
Just
rubbers all the
Yeah.
time.
When he was in Grandpa doesn't want
I don't even have a
Custom
pair.
companies. All he wants is money.
Would sign up for each weekend. But unfortunately, some
I should tell Pastor
some
Elvis next time he goes and
say
see
they
Grandpa, he
can't.
should say, you got $10?
You know.
and Russ.
He says that's why this last month he didn't, our church didn't
Oh,
come
when
to
you
the
clean, you
conference.
clean,
He
right?
said that's because he didn't get enough money, so he's not coming with us. Grandpa showed
Is
us.
it
You know, it's a way to
campuses?
save money. You know,
I
if
says to
everybody
Grandpa, I
donates,
says,
mean,
that's in
it's
his
a
salary,
service.
you don't pay. He gets the salary from church. I says, you don't give this money that GE collects here, he's gotta give to church.
Plus there was the.
See, because the people that are on Pinecrest, they have
And we have
envelopes
to
if
back,
they
you
want
know,
to
you
make it.
remember what our fellowship hall was like.
Yeah, this is the first year in forever that we're probably gonna balance the,
Thing, and then that
balance the
entry
budget,
area,
yeah.
that would all have to be.
Cause that's cause we got one pastor.
And it's really great that he will do it alone. I mean, because a lot of pastors wouldn't, they'd say,
Oh,
no, that's too much.
I wouldn't do it if I was him.
Yeah,
We're gonna add on a $288,000 addition on our church.
you are. On your church? What are you gonna build? The school, different school, the church?
No,
So
you
that's
can
it's in the
you
front.
can only give
That
out
many
that
people
people
for
for 288 or
For 280,
For
Why do
only
you
need
have
about
to, why do you
5
have to add on?
it, for 288,000, that ain't too much.
No
that
one
you
wants to
can
come in, they
build
don't
on.
let the dog in.
I know it is. It's
Not when you got all the government regulations and stuff. You got.
Government regulations don't apply to churches.
You don't?
Oh, they must have to with handicapped access.
No.
Nope, government regulations have that don't have anything to do with churches.
Wait, did you have you outside, huh? Well, you walk stiffer than I do.
Yeah, but she's 77 or better already. They're gonna add a new piece on the narthex in the front.
Randy, go
And
and
they're gonna
lay
put
down.
elevators in and 4 bathrooms and offices
Go
and
on,
pastors and a new kitchen.
Like one of the summers, go in the woods there and take a walk.
I know we gotta put,
You should see
talk
her
about
then.
putting elevators
Like
in
a
or whatever.
Yeah.
2-year-old dog.
Yeah, that's
Then
just real
Then
frisky.
you run
Yeah.
around all over. Then you hide behind the tree.
Elevator
Go
only
ahead,
costs
you
$15,000.
hide behind the tree. Then she'll
But to
come
put it
back.
in,
Then
costs.
she'll look around.
No, that's
That's pretty
That's
nice.
$15,000
$15,000
behind that tree there.
installed, but then the elevator pit costs another $10,000.
Huh?
And that's for a 3-stop
I
elevator.
don't like that.
Honest to God?
No, she listens to that.
But it's only a 3-person
And then-
elevator. You can only
then
get
she'll
3
listen
people in
pretty
it at a
much to
time.
Michael.
It's got a room in there that's about
But she don't
4'6"
figure
by
out
5
crap,
foot
so she don't
8 or something like that.
She thinks we're
But you can get a wheelchair and
about
put
handball,
other
so she
people in
don't,
there.
she don't
I
pay
can
too
tell
much
that.
attention
Sandy,
to
that's
me.
because you talk like this. You need to
They
talk
talk
like that.
They talk
I
like
can holler
50,
at her.
60,000.
A regular elevator, they cost 40 to 50,000.
No, it's got to do with the hierarchy.
Is
Where
that
she
for
thinks
installing
she's
it,
going.
Don?
Yep, that's complete.
40 or 50?
Okay, Michael.
For a regular elevator, but for a smaller one, that'll take 3 people at a clip. That's around 15,000.
Except
Yeah,
when
they
she's
said around
scared,
20,000
then she
for our
comes
church.
Yeah,
They
15
were talking
plus
about
the
Kind
that
of
tip.
too.
like the kids.
Yep,
They
15
think they're
plus
their
the
own
tip.
boss and can do what they want until they're scared.
All you gotta do
about
is,
something or
you know, if
sick,
you
then
plant
they
some
come
shade in the parking lot.
And that they're talking about too, they want that blacktop.
Hey, he thinks we should put a shade bar. I was like,
Now across the road, yeah. Where Susie is over there, 80 acres of shade.
Not
Boy,
enough
there's a lot of
smoke
rock
in
to
there.
fix.
oh, there's so many
Let's
rocks.
see, 80 acres.
That's why that isn't broke, that new land there, because there's so many rocks.
That
A
would,
lot of rock by you?
But just think of all your family.
that would
We
only
come in
cost
one
you
day,
about
we get that.
160 to
Hey,
$200,000.
we have a rock picking bee every
80
spring when
acres.
Ron gets done planting.
Uh-huh.
But I'm on the tractor now because I have to grab it
$40,000
out.
an acre.
And then Ed,
14,000 an
it's
acre.
Linda's kids,
14,000 an
Susan's,
acre.
Christina,
You gotta
and
grow
then
on
we
the
have a
Yeah.
good time.
Yeah.
You gotta buy the seeds.
Oh, there's a lot of rock picking.
I still
You
remember
can buy
those
with
times
20
we come
or
home by your
lucky.
farm.
Yeah, then you would
Remember
help
we
pick rock.
picnic, when we picnic out there, and I can remember
What's
that
it
great big bowl, we
Huh?
make
What's it
lemonade.
worth?
Yeah,
And that
yeah.
great big
Old Shank is
bowl
up.
with the masher.
Judy
Yeah,
would
but
always
then
plan
you
the
know
Fourth
it's
of
a
with
sign
the
that
Fourth
you're
of
gonna
July
get a good
for
crap to it.
party,
Yeah.
you know, she would plan.
Now, we went by Carl's where he had chain out there, that's all just falling down.
His pants, I think.
I don't think he has
I
any.
think
just-
Carl lost his pants.
But doesn't he have some past his place down there where the...
By
where-
Rhonda.
Carl don't have any at all.
Yeah, by Rhonda.
Oh, by Rhonda.
Did they pull it, or it just wasn't
They
being
just
on
Yeah,
any?
he had some not on the main farm. He had
Well,
some-
Yeah,
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 that's
yeah,
all.
yeah.
There was nobody to, he had all the farm work,
Yeah.
you know, there's work with
Yeah,
Shane, that's
sure.
gotta be weeded. He
Yeah,
well,
couldn't do the
Joyce-
farm work and the.
See, I think he
Mean
thinks all his
Joyce didn't
kids
do
were
that?
gonna pitch in and
Well,
do that.
not
Well,
much.
the kids didn't,
Oh,
I
the
didn't
kids-
know what
oh,
time
the
to
And
pull it
the
out
kids,
of
the
the
kids,
ground.
they didn't help it when
Yeah.
Carl dug the
Yeah.
roots,
That's
then
what
they
the
all
big
wanted a
problem
handout.
was.
Yeah, yeah.
And they got it too.
Yeah, sure.
Why, they could've helped it too.
Well, sure.
Jeff doesn't help to this day, he just, you know, always a
One hand
handout.
feeds the
Have a
other.
handout,
Yeah.
yeah.
And Joy, no, Carl.
Yeah.
And
So
parents,
there's-
parents shouldn't have to be working to keep their grown-up kids
That's right.
in luxury.
That's
Right, I think these grown-up kids should work to keep
You hear
parents
that,
in
Darren?
luxury.
That's true. You hear that?
We're raising our kids,
Carl's
when they
biggest
make big
problem
bucks,
with all of that.
we're gonna sell our house and we're gonna move in with them and their servants are going to take care
Well,
of
then
us.
he had a serious problem with the old alcohol too.
Yeah,
You can say that again.
Lila saw him last weekend, and I said, well, how was Carl? And he said, oh, Carl isn't Carl anymore. You know, he has 2 beers, and he's right away, you know, that goes right to him. He can't handle that.
If it wouldn't be for Don, Carl would have been off of there 10 years ago already.
Don was saying, he
Not
was
that
there,
far.
and he was
Don.
telling me stuff.
He what?
Don was there again, Don was telling us when we saw him last. And he just shakes his
I wish I
head.
had the money.
Yeah, Carl, Carl would forget that damn beer. He sees some beer. The last Sunday was up at the hunt shack. Before he went home, he had to stick 2 cans in his pocket. You know,
Should take along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? My God,
Carl,
I'm sick of that.
Carl can't drink no more than 1 or 2 beer
Oh,
either.
no, that's
Yeah,
what
but
he
you have to
said.
take 2 cans along.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
he has,
And he's right away at
Drink
his
on
home.
the way home,
Right away
right?
at his home, you know.
no, he was with
No, he wouldn't
with
drive.
Alan was driving.
Daddy wouldn't do. Ever since he was caught, you know,
Yeah.
he watched.
I'll never forget that night over there at
So
that
that
tavern.
was really bad.
When Carl was arguing with that one guy, and he was talking to the guy, said, well, come on outside. That guy go outside, Carl go up to the door, and then he'd look around, and then he'd go back again because nobody was following him. And then Carl says, next day he says to Bernie, he says, Bernie, he says, I thought you guys would probably help me. And Bernie says to Carl, he said, well, he says, we wouldn't allow him to kill you.
I think it would have been a good thing that he would have got one once. He learned to keep his mouth shut anyhow.
I remember over at, what's that place, was that Northway? We stopped there to get a sandwich run from fishing, come back from fishing. Carl didn't know nobody in there. And the first doggone thing, you know, here he had a big argument going with somebody in there. I didn't know the guy or anybody. And,
Carl's little, but oh my.
He used to be lots of fun, but that all changed.
Yeah.
That all changed.
Well, things work on you after a long period of time.
Yeah.
I remember, I was surprised even when I was a kid and we got a new minister in, and Carl and me go over there to help him move in, and we brought a case of beer with us, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
well, that's Carl.
We always say we wondered if somebody
Surprised
doesn't
at the
get hurt
minister's
with the machinery.
I think when him and Alan worked together there, that was about a 6-pack per acre. If that lasted.
Does
He had
Alan,
a cooler on every tractor.
does Alan drink a lot too?
He did, but
Well,
I think that's
I think it's slowed down
Yeah.
since Little
He
Chicago
works
doesn't
for the
have
city now,
Karen
doesn't he,
anymore.
for Wassa?
Oh, they don't have them
That
in
was the
Chicago
best thing
no
they
more?
ever
Does he work for the city
Never,
right now?
Yeah.
Ma,
Yeah,
never.
yeah.
Because I see him on the
Michael
streets
works
for the
for the
county.
county.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I knew one did was the
Well, you know, when
Oh,
we,
Michael works for the county?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, Michael.
I thought he
worked
worked for Wassa Homes.
He did, but
Oh,
he spent most of that
That's
county
quite a
ready
while.
for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Oh,
If maybe even longer, I don't know.
Oh.
Time goes so darn fast.
And then Rhonda's husband works
So you
at,
get for the city and the county,
James River.
state and stuff like that,
Oh, yeah.
that's all
He got
different
it.
forms of welfare.
so you just work in the mill?
Those are good jobs.
Yeah.
Paper mill.
But
If
what,
you get down
James
to
River is a
Washington, that's
paper
where you
mill.
really
Yeah.
gotta
That's
What does he,
go right by
Well,
the,
isn't that
Fifth
just
Street
about
there.
the
yeah, I
truth?
know, but does he work in the mill?
Yeah,
or does he,
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know what he does.
yeah, he did.
I don't know either what he does, if he drives to the
No,
work or what
I
he
think,
does.
well, I know what he does, but he works right in the mill. I know.
Yeah.
They claim that they go there and after they're in there about 10, 12 years, to get voted out of office, their retirement, and that there's more than they made while they was in office.
That's James River, you mean?
No,
This has gotta be government.
that's the government.
Yeah.
I
No,
know,
that's
I
a
gotta
fact.
get a job there.
That's a fact. You take your president gets $275,000 a year. But after he's out of office, it amounts to over $2 million a year that he gets.
Oh, that's, yeah, but that's because of the
Rainey, you go on
the Secret Service and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Well, all they count when he's in is just his wages,
Yeah.
but he gets more protection even when he's in. But that's, I wouldn't have that job for $10 million a year.
No, you're darn right.
Well, I
So
don't
you're gonna
think
be
Bush
getting
will
out
be
private,
relaxed
you know.
to get out of there.
You get,
So you're gonna be getting out of Wassa
Just to
East
get
now?
out
Yeah,
of there.
still don't
That's
know.
just like Krieger.
I'll be going over to see,
sheriff?
I'm
I
at
bet
John,
he's like,
I'm
you
just
know,
right
he's
down
out
here,
there.
Yeah.
but I'm with that group at East.
Oh.
And after Thanksgiving, we're gonna be back
Because I
up
don't know
here,
what's
and
gonna
another
happen
group
there.
is
That's
coming
gonna be
over.
real interesting.
Oh.
You mean with Woodward?
Yeah.
Then
Oh, yeah.
Chad
He got
Wall.
into Woodward East.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Bought his way into
So-
that.
70
So
votes.
I'm wondering what it's
Only
gonna be like when
Oh,
I
Woodward?
go
Thank you
over
very much.
Woodward?
to here, because the
Well, he
way
spent
I'm
a lot of
teaching
money.
Yeah,
that
there was a
lady
lot
who's
of
been
time.
teaching ESL there for so many years doesn't
Kramer
like what
didn't
I'm
do
doing.
much
She's
advertising.
been kind
No,
of
he
on
didn't.
my case, yeah.
County board was against him
But
because he
I've
wouldn't
got
kiss
the
their
head of
ass.
the whole school district ESL.
And that's what,
Yeah, that's what I heard.
you know, and the sheriff isn't
And I
supposed
guess
to.
technically
The sheriff
what
is
they
supposed
did
to be
was they
independent.
made
He
me
don't
an
have to give
employee
any. Shouldn't give
enforcement
anybody
so
anything.
that
No, that's
technically
right.
she has
And then the
no
stupid
right
contract
to
that
tell
they
me
have
what
at the
to do
sheriff's
on my
department,
own department.
they have to schedule 6 months in advance.
But they had to do that.
Oh, yeah?
because
Yeah.
She told me
And
one
if
department had.
you're working
I told
other than
that
the
to
schedule
boss
that you
lady
had
of the
on
whole
there,
district.
you get overtime.
She says, well, I'm her boss.
Oh, no
She
wonder.
didn't like that
Yeah.
at all.
I've seen the county board, him go to the county board and tell the county board, you know, the only way you get rid of overtime is to hire more people.
So we're gonna
So
see
he
what
goes and they
happens
say,
now.
yeah,
I go
okay,
over
we'll
there
give you
and
2 more deputies.
She's gonna try.
And then
I
they
know
turn
she's
right
gonna
around
try
and
to-
take the money away that
Put pressure on you.
you used to pay the deputies so he can't get them. They
Oh,
give
the
him
kids are
permission to have
overseas.
the deputies and
They're
and take the money away.
Yes.
I was at an
Like a bunch of little kids.
Oh,
I look at it too, but it doesn't work
Well,
that way no more. I don't know why.
Look at the big government.
Done that.
I
Look at how,
like
look
to talk
at
about it.
how does it work that way?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. See, I think
Farmers
there's too
gonna follow
much,
that sometime.
there's too much money in it. See,
Oh, I
that's
never-
why, so
I
then you
never
wanna
seen
hang
any
together
farm.
with somebody else that's gonna make sure you keep getting your money for a job you're not doing, you know?
The easiest thing is throw it on taxes.
Yeah.
You can't, you finish
Oh,
yourself
we got
against
that
that
thing
at
shut
all.
off.
The only time that
Got
they
that
want to
thing
come
shut
to
off.
us, and that don't even go
No.
anywhere.
Nah, it's still running.
Just as bad as it was.
What?
So you're on,
It's getting
you're
a
back.
little hot in here.
Oh, okay, I'll turn it off.
I mean, you're approaching 7th grade.
The end.
Did you hear what he said? He says the end.